Hey everyone, and welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. And today is Monday, so we do gear reviews on Monday because we gotta scratch that itch, guys. I'm a gear nerd. I like to tinker as much as I can, test out good gear, give it to you guys just so that you can understand what I'm using, why I'm using it, and if it's something that I really enjoy, I want to bring it to you and let you guys know what's working and what's not, so that you can get your setups dialed the way that you want. So I showed you guys on Instagram when I first got this sight. It's the Dialed Archery Arxos. All right, so they sent this to me right as I was starting hunting season. So this was back near the end of August, beginning of September timeframe. I'm not exactly sure when that was. And I haven't put it on a bow because I didn't want to mess with my hunting setup, because I had gotten it dialed out to where I was shooting past 100 yards and I could hit the target really well. I didn't want to mess with the sight that I was currently using. So now that we're wrapping up towards the end of the season and I'm getting things set up, I've found some things that I didn't like during this season, some things that I'm looking forward to using in this new season. I'll be getting a new bow. All of those things. I wanted to give you guys kind of my first impressions of this dialed sight, and then let you guys know a little bit more information on when I'll be using this sight and how I'll be using it, and we'll get you a review. So this is first impressions, and then after that, we'll get you a review on me using it, what I like about it, what I may not like about it. Who knows? I may love everything about it. From what I can see right now, first off, the packaging. Guys, you've heard me talk about this with the UltraView release and a bunch of other stuff, that the packaging matters to me. It shows that you put thought into your product. So when you take care of packaging it correctly, where it's not wobbling around inside the packaging, it doesn't look cheap. This right here, this is great packaging. I mean, great branding here. It explains everything that they use. So the void dial system, the switch tape, which will go over all of that here shortly. Now, there's a little message here on the back. Here it explains, kind of your layout, what you chose on the site when you were making your site. So this is a great packaging. I love it. All right. And of course, got to have that made in America right there. So, all right, guys, let's take a look at this. I'm going to open up the packaging here. And I love that. Designed with a purpose, or designed on purpose. Awesome job. Okay. So I'm going to pull this out. It's got some good... Again, it's just taken care of, guys. You can tell that this sight is taken care of with the packaging. Okay. So, comes out like this. Just looks clean, guys. It just looks awesome. Take it out of the foam that it's in. And let's take a look at this thing. First impression when I first take this out of the box is just, it's solid. It's solid. I don't feel like it's the heaviest sight on the market, but it's definitely not the lightest. You can tell the machining is done really well. I love it. This is awesome. All right. So, let's see here. Okay. So we'll start from here and move forward. Okay, guys. So from the back here, you can see, again, the machining. Well, I guess I need to give you guys a kind of a close-up look here in the camera. All right. I love that. The void dial. Clean, just good machining. Awesome job. Good branding here. Let's see if we can get that to... There we go, Dialed Archery. Got the little logo here. So it's not overwhelming. Oh, and then the logo up top here as well. I love it. The branding isn't overwhelming. It's not screaming marketing, which I love. I love it when it's just enough. It looks clean. So we'll start here from the back and we'll work forward, okay? So from the back here, this is the Matthews dovetail. This is made specifically for Matthews. Now, with this sight specifically, you also get the clamp that you can put on the side if you prefer to use the dovetail on the side. If you have a different bow setup than Hoyt or Matthews, you would choose this one because you would get that. I don't use dovetails, honestly. But if you want to run the dovetail, you could run it out that far, or you could bring it in that close to your bow. That's what you would use if you don't have a newer Hoyt or the Matthews that has the bridge lock technology. This is made for the bridge lock technology right here. So again, well machined, great. I mean, smooth. It's matte black, so it's not shiny, reflective. I love it. And then of course, you know, the name of the site right there, the Arxos, just great. And then they took out as much weight as they could right in here. Again, not messing with the structural integrity of it, but allowing it to be lighter weight. So I love that. And again, you have the little dimples here, guys, that you can, with the bridge lock system, you would run this right through the riser, and the bridge lock would work perfectly with this. If you don't have the bridge lock system, then you would use this with their side mount that you would screw into the side of your bow, and then you would run this in and out depending on how far away from the bow or how close to the bow you would like it. Okay, now that's the rail here. If you have a newer Hoyt, they have a Picatinny option as well, which is what I'm going to be running on my Hoyt. And I'll talk to you guys about that in a little bit. But there is the Picatinny clamp that will go on the front there, the Picatinny attachment. Here is, let me see if I can, I'm going to butcher the names on here, guys, and I'm sorry about that. Let's see. The Dial Lock. That's the name. Sorry, I was looking at the list here. So the Dial Lock. That's what this button does right here. Okay, now it's bottom and top activated. So this, when you push from the top, this is like a safety on a gun basically. But this dial right now, I have it out, not pushed in. This dial moves pretty freely. There's still some tension there. All right, and they were kind of debating whether or not they were going to put a lock on that. I can see why, because there's good tension on this dial. But at the same time, you obviously want it to be able to lock. If you say you want to set it at, you know, your pins, because there's 2 pins in here. If you want to set it at, you know, 10 and then 60 or whatever your range is, then you lock it. And now this won't move unless you crank on it. If you crank on it, it will unlock. So they call this more of a break rather than a stop, because it doesn't necessarily lock down 100%. If you crank on the dial, this button will pop up. Let's see if I can. So that's with it depressed. And then you can see here at the bottom, you can push this up. All right. So it's more of a break is the way that Scott was explaining it to me. So there's that. And then I'm going to push this up again. Again, guys, you can see where that dial moves. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of effort. It's good knurling, great finish here on that dial. Again, they made this hollow so that you can, they could keep as much weight out of it as possible. But I mean, it's just a solid piece of material here. Great amount of being able to grip this. All right. Even if you want to grip it, like this, so your finger doesn't get hit on the windage adjustment. Another good thing, now that we're working from back to front, guys, so you've got this dial. The dial's awesome. I love it. You can take the tape and you can switch it to where it's on the outside, similar to other, I haven't shot a lot of other sites, to be honest with you, that have it on the outside, but I want to say like Spot Hog, where you can put the tape on the outside. Okay, so there's just a couple screws in here. You're able to pop this out, put the tape on this side if you preferred, on the outside, and then put it back in. So that's called the switch tape technology. In the future, they will have multiple pin options. Right here, this is a 2-pin, and this is the 0.010, so the 1,000th inches there. I think it's inches. Man, I'm terrible with the numbers. Either way, this is the 1,000th, not the 19,000th. So it's the smallest pin that they offer, which I really like. And with this sight, again, you can have multiple pins. So you can take those pins out if you only want to have 2 or 1 of those pins, or if you end up with one of their 3 pin housings that they have out now, you can put your 3 pin markers, these little pins here. See if we can get this to focus on the sight. Anyway, there's 3 pins right here, guys. If I can get my finger to it, there we go. 3 pins right there. Okay, and then there's one up here. So that tape will roll, and your pin will indicate what yardage it's at. Okay, so you'll have those metal pins right there to indicate that for you. Again, you can I like mine on the inside because in case I am at full draw and I just want to make sure I'm right at the right yardage, I can just kind of peek away from my bow and see that I'm at the right yardage. All right, so I like it on the inside, but again, you can swap it to the outside. Another great thing about this, guys, is that you can get different tapes. So you can get different rings that you can put in here. Say you want to run 2 different arrow weights, one for tack, one for hunting. Maybe you want to do one for whitetail, and then you come out west and you want to do one for elk. Whatever that may be, you guys can swap these tapes out however you'd like, and have the different tape options with just one little screw right there. Okay, and that'll lock it in to the ring here. So again, great option. This is a plastic piece, this white piece right here. I'm not exactly sure the materials that they use on it, but that is a plastic piece. Everything else on here is metal up to this point that we reviewed. The tape right here, it'll come with their different yardage tapes. You can get it dialed into where you feel like it's the right yardage, depending on the arrow you shoot, the poundage, etc. You guys know how to dial in your setup. So after we've gotten through the dial here, the void dial, okay, now we're going to look at this thing. So this is something new, all right? And that's what I'm excited to test when I get it on my new bow, is the angled rail here. Okay, it's not straight up and down. Most sights are straight up and down. What that is supposed to do is allow you to get more yardage out of your sight. So people like me with the shorter draw lengths, depending on the bow, 27.5 to 28, depending on the bow that I'm shooting. And so I'm not a long draw length by any means, and I'm excited to see if that really does get me more yardage out of my sight than a straight up and down bar. So that's something that I'm excited to try out. Something else here, guys, is that they now have a locking mechanism to where you can lock in your sight. So you can hear these clicks moving you left or right, and you can also lock it so that your windage will not adjust. So they were also considering that. Something else I love about this company is that they're taking feedback from the listeners, feedback from customers, people that have tested it in the field. And they originally, because again, it's good clicks, I'm sure you can hear that, they weren't thinking they were going to need a lock because, well, it's got good tension on it. But it's always good to have that lock so you can lock in once you've got your sight dialed to where you want it. And so that's something that they added, was a locking feature here, so that you can make sure that once you get the windage the way that you want, your left and right good, you can lock it in. So I love that. There's good tick marks here at the top so that you can adjust it the way that you want. All right, and you can even silver sharpie it. You can make sure you're on the right hash mark, that your sight hasn't gotten bumped, etc. That's really awesome. Again, good knurling here so you can get a good grip on this and make sure that there's clicks. You heard those clicks. So it's good, audible, and tactile clicks. It even has a direction for you to let you know which way you're turning it. So that would be that direction to the left. Okay, awesome, solid work. All right, guys. There's some screws, so if you're needing to play with the adjustment there to get your sight, whatever part of the rail you're wanting it to be on, you can go through and handle that with those 2 screws right there. There is second and third axis adjustments, which I really like, so that you can go through and make sure that you've got your sight adjusted. They say that from the factory it is first axis adjusted. Always verify that, guys. I like that they set it up that way from the factory, but definitely always verify that your first, second, and third axes are on, especially if you're shooting out of a tree stand down at a steep angle, or if you're out west, that's super important as well. Okay, you can also unscrew this. If you just like this housing here, you can take this piece off and put, maybe you run an UltraView sight, and you can put an UltraView sight on this housing, this arm right here. So that's another option. They have a little piece on the sight that you can buy to be able to adjust or to swap out this housing for different housing, such as if you like the UltraView options over the dialed options. Okay, so there's that adjustment right there. Okay, that screw can just come off, and then you can see in here there's a little piece that attaches to the housing. You can buy that little piece for other options. I say UltraView because that's the main one that people have used with this arm. Okay, so we've gone through all that, guys. Great adjustability. I love all the adjustments that can happen. You really can customize it the way you want. Again, you can pick various colors of this housing, or of the housing and of the arm here, the attachment to the bow. You can change the color of the dial itself. You can buy different colors. So maybe one year you want orange, the next year you want black, the next year you want white, whatever. You can go in and purchase those dials separate as well. Again, you can also purchase the switch tapes separately as well. So all of that customizability. And then we've got up here the fiber optics, the fibers for the sight. So there's the sight. You know, it's super tiny because I personally like the 10ths rather than the 19th option. So I may switch that up with the new one that I'm getting for the Hoyt, but I really like that skinny look. It's just super, super, super clean there in the mag housing. But we're going to start here, guys. That fiber optic, super clear. If it's too bright, which honestly I've never had an issue where it's too bright, but if you are getting that starburst effect, you can close that hood. And now that's good tension. I'm putting some pressure right there. It's not sliding up. You have to put some good amount of pressure to get that hood to slide up and down. So that's good tension right there. I am interested in seeing if over time that may get loose. They say that it's not, and obviously the engineers there know what they're talking about because they've created a great site, but I will be interested in seeing that in the future. Okay, they're also going to come out with some possible light options. They're constantly evolving and growing. They're a new company, so I'm excited about that. All right, now let's talk about the housing. Okay, so there's a white ring, which I like the white ring. And then the interesting thing here is that there's a bubble on the top. Now, most sites, guys, will have the bubble on the bottom here under the pins. I like that idea because the bubble doesn't get in the way. And again, if you have a shorter draw length and you're wanting to go shoot tack or Mountain Archery Fest, you can get more yardage out of this. So they have this is basically a single pin with an oh crap pin there at the bottom, or I call it the tack pin there at the bottom. That's a lot of yardage there, guys. Again, I didn't test it out and see how much yardage I can get out of that. But I really like the fact that they have that there at the base and then the bubbles at the top. I also noticed too, just kind of looking at it, I get a better picture of the bubble on the top. Now there's going to be some people that have been shooting archery for a lot longer than me and are so used to the bubble on the bottom, this is going to be weird. But for me, I like seeing the bubble on the top. I think it's pretty cool because it seems to fit in my peripheral vision a lot better than a bubble on the bottom. I don't know why. I don't know the science behind that, but that's why they came up with that. Also, that bubble gets lit up by the sunlight coming in here at the top. The bubble will also get lit up there. And when you add a light option to it, which they will do in the future, that will light up the bubble as well. Okay, but that's basically the breakdown of the sight, guys. This is my first impressions of it. It's a solid built sight. I love the tension that I feel here. Okay, it's great. Good tension. It'll hold still even if you don't lock it, which I like. It reminds me a lot of the black golds that I run because I don't necessarily lock the sight when I put it at the yardage I want, but there's good enough tension there that I'm not worried about it bumping. Okay, same thing here. There's great tension in that dial. All right, there's great clicks, audible clicks here that I really like. There's the locking here. There's the second, third axis adjustment as well. You've got the locking here if you want that safety brake for your dial not to go up and down on you. Overall, guys, my first impressions on this site is it is a great site. I can't say that I would change much about this site, to be honest with you. I really like the way that this site is set up. I'm excited to get the Picatinny version of it and throw that on the Hoyt and get started down that path. They do have a 3-pin option now where it's set up similar to this, where it's a single post and it's got 3 pins in it, if that's the way you want to go. Or if you're a single person kind of guy or single pin person, then this would be a great option for you. So you got the tack pin there at the bottom if you're wanting to shoot out past 100 yards at Total Archery Challenge or Mountain Archery Fest. But those are all the features that I can think about on this site. I want to make sure I've got everything. I got everything covered. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so you got the angled, I was just looking at this list here, the angled elevation system, which is that rail that I was telling you about here. It's angled instead of straight. You've got the switch tape technology, which are those white switch tapes that you can put on the inside or the out, and you can have multiple tapes for the same site. You've got the void dial, which is that right there. You've got the dial lock, which is that button, so the brake. You've got the mag swap, so you can swap out the housing instead of having to swap out the entire site. And you've got the top level, which is the bubble at the top there. So I like all of those things, guys. Definitely go check out Dialed Archery. They're doing amazing things. They're shipping super fast at this point. I will get you guys a follow-up review as soon as I get one for the Hoyt and I get it set up on the Hoyt so that I can shoot it and test it out for you guys. Outside of that, guys, definitely go give them a shout. Go check them out. And hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, go subscribe to the channel. Share it with others. Again, every Monday I do a gear review, bringing you the gear that I love, the gear that I use, and maybe gear that I don't necessarily like so much. And I want to give you a review on it so you don't go and waste your money. Or if you use it in a different way than me, you can check it out. So go subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on this site itself. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below as well. And again, I will follow up with a review here in the future, guys. Outside of that, have an amazing rest of your week. We just got it started being Monday. And of course, get out, live your life, and love it.